Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
They will be destroyed.
Time, monster. You don't belong in this world.
Hail, fellow travelers. Tim from Secret Fire Books here with another book haul at the end of the month. I apologize in advance if I sound a little off in this video, maybe a little tired or stuffy. I don't know. It's starting to get really chilly in my neck of the woods, so I might be coming down with a cold. But I do feel well enough to shoot this video at least and show off some books that I picked up over the past several weeks. But I apologize. I apologize if I sound off, like I said. This first stack of books I picked up from Sheepy Book Company, the wonderful little used bookstore that just opened up recently in my neighborhood. I've been visiting them pretty often, at least once a week over the past couple weeks, and I usually find something cool while I'm there. For my part, I have been doing my best to turn in some of my old books that I don't need anymore for store credit, so I've been stocking their shelves and giving myself some store credit so I don't spend too much money on these books. The first one I want to show off is Star Wars X-Wing Rogue Squadron. This is by Michael A. Stackpole. It is one of the many, many novels in what they used to call the Star Wars Expanded Universe before Disney got their grubby mitts all over the franchise. I've heard a lot of fun things about the X-Wing series, and this first book in the series I know stars Wedge Antilles, the greatest and most underappreciated background character in all of cinema, as he trains a new squadron of X-Wing fighter pilots to fight the Galactic Empire. So that sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, if I ever get into the Expanded Universe novels, I'm probably going to give this one a shot first. Oh man, I'm really out of it. Again, I apologize, guys. This is going to be completely shambolic, as my friend Jim would say. I also picked up quite a few classics from Sheepy. They have a lot of paperback classics there. The first one is Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. I had recently watched a video from Check Your Shelf. Steve and Paul from Check Your Shelf did a video of this book a while ago, and their conversation about it was very entertaining, and it got me really interested in this book. I've never read it. People usually come into contact with this book in middle school or high school, but I had never read Of Mice and Men. Now, that said, I do know the basic plot of this story. I know the ending. I know the message that John Steinbeck was trying to get across with this book. So there's no real surprises in here that await me, but like I said, the conversation they were having over at Check Your Shelf made this book sound very intriguing, and it's very short. This copy is only 118 pages, so I guess that makes it a novella. I don't know what the rules are anymore. I don't know where the cutoff point is between novel and novella and novelette. Most of the novels that I read are like 200 pages long, but then Brandon Sanderson can come along and write a 250-page book and call that a novella, so I don't know what the rules anymore. I don't know what the rules are anymore. Oh my goodness, this is going to be my worst video of the month. I thought that Dracula tape video was going to be the worst, but no, this is it. This is going to be my worst video. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm sorry I'm filming this. I picked up another classic that I also didn't know was a fairly short read. This is F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby. This is a book that I really don't know anything about, despite it being kind of a staple of American literature. And really the only reason I picked it up was because I had always assumed it was this great big epic of a novel, but it's only 180 pages. So yeah, I might give it a shot at some point to see what it's all about. I've never really been told what the general plot of The Great Gatsby is. I've never really been interested in it, but I do love that famous front cover. So at the very least, I can add a nice bit of art to my paperback collection. Oh man, this video is going to really take it out of me. Next, we have A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. Anthony Burgess, is that how it's pronounced? I have heard quite a bit about this one. This is kind of a classic dystopian novel in a way. I've heard a lot of folks that are into like new wave science fiction sing this book's praises. I don't know how many science fiction elements are in it. I just know that it's kind of a dystopian, alternate future kind of novel that has a lot of elements of violence and juvenile delinquency. And yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of a modern classic. So I'm sure I'll check that out at some point as well. It's not a vintage copy by any means, but I do like the simplicity of that a very striking front cover. And then speaking of modern classics, I've heard quite a few people sing this book's praises as well. This is Alfred Bester's The Star's My Destination, otherwise known as Tiger Tiger, I believe, when it was originally released in the UK. I've heard quite a bit about this book as well. Richard from Vintage SF did a video about this book a little bit ago, and then quite a while ago, like several months ago, Grammaticus Books did an awesome video reviewing this book. And from what I remember, he said that there were some ups and downs with this novel, but that the concept is well worth a read. So, yeah, when I get back into vintage science fiction, I'll probably check out Alfred Bester's The Star's My Destination. It sounds really cool at the very least. So for those of you who don't remember, or you weren't following this channel at the time, when I did my first ever book haul, I had no idea what I was doing, first and foremost. I had my phone strapped to a coat rack with a rubber band because I didn't have a tripod at the time. And it was one of the first times I'd ever been on camera, like put myself on camera before. And so I both looked and felt extremely uncomfortable, and it really comes across in that video. Since I'm putting up videos on YouTube now and I'm talking about books on YouTube, I'm kind of honor bound to show off my book hauls. And I don't know if I'll make this a regular thing, but it is something really cool, so I thought I'd show it off for everybody. And that's how I feel now. I feel like I'm giving those vibes now. I feel like I'm giving first ever book haul vibes, even though I've done almost 200 videos on this channel since then. I feel like this is the first time I'm ever doing something like this. My brain is just scrambled beyond belief. This is what happens when I get sick. Okay, so the next 4 books I want to talk about, I bought these online. They're nothing too special, nothing vintage or anything, but I really wanted these books because they collect a lot of horror stories, a lot of classic horror stories that I really wanted to read. The first one is a book that I actually talked about in my last video. This is The Wendigo and Other Stories by Algernon Blackwood. As you can see, I have my bookmark in there. I'm reading the story Ancient Sorceries right now, which is one of his more well-known weird fiction stories, one of his John Silence, Dr. John Silence stories. And yeah, if you watch my my video that I did on The Wendigo and the Willows, you know that I didn't think all that highly of Algernon Blackwood. I think he's a great writer who has some great atmosphere in his stories, but the stories themselves I didn't think were all that fun or scary for that matter. But yeah, I'll keep digging into this. I'll keep giving Algernon Blackwood a chance. I'm sure there's some stuff in there that I'll appreciate. And I know there's going to be some stuff that I appreciate in this one. This is The Dark Eidolon and Other Fantasies by Clark Ashton Smith. Is it pronounced? I actually don't know how this word is pronounced. Is it pronounced Eidolon, Eidolon? I've never heard that word pronounced out loud before, so I don't know. But this is a Penguin Classics edition of collected short stories and poetry by Clark Ashton Smith, a writer that I've been getting really into lately. His stuff is awesome. And I feel bad that whenever people bring up Clark Ashton Smith, it's never on his own merits. They always bring up the fact that, oh, don't you know that he was one of the big 3 of Weird Tales magazine? Don't you know he was a correspondent of H.P. Lovecraft. He was friends with Robert E. Howard and all that. So I feel like he needs to be given a bit more recognition and kind of stand on his own merits. So I will be digging into this book sometime soon, and I plan on doing a Clark Ashton Smith video at some point in the near future. Because like I said, I've been really enjoying his horror and fantasy fiction. And as far as I know, the front cover features a bit of art done by Clark Ashton Smith. I think it says so on the back. Cover illustration, The Spy by Clark Ashton Smith. So yeah, he did the painting that they have on the cover of this Penguin Classics edition. That's pretty cool. What a talented guy. And then because I read Dracula this month, Chris from Liminal Spaces recommended that I read Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu, which is a vampire novel that actually predates Dracula, and apparently Dracula was somewhat inspired by this book. And so yeah, I picked up a copy of this. So here we have this newer paperback edition of Carmilla. I got it with this mysterious little black smudge on the red part of the cover there. I don't know if that's like ink from the rest of the cover, like running over into the other spaces. I don't know what that is, but I can't get it off. And it slightly mars the overall appearance of the front cover. But I do like the look of the book otherwise. It has these red sprayed text blocks going on. And weirdly enough, it lists the author as Sheridan Le Fanu, where I usually see him addressed as either Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu or J. Sheridan Le Fanu. So I wonder what that's all about. But yeah, the dark sapphic romance that inspired Dracula. All right, I'll have to give this a shot. According to Chris, this is the superior vampire novel. He liked this a lot more than Dracula, but I'll have to see about that. I will be the judge of that, Mr. Chris, Mr. Liminal Spaces. And then this is something that I've wanted to get to for a while, and I was hoping that I would run into a copy of this book out in the wild, but no such luck. This is The House on the Borderlands and Other Mysterious Places by William Hope Hodgson. This is actually the second in a series of books that collect all of his fiction. But this is the second volume. It includes the novel The House on the Borderland, which is something that I've been meaning to get to for a long time. Quite a few of my friends have done videos themselves on this novel. It's apparently a classic of cosmic horror that also influenced H.P. Lovecraft. So, yeah, I'll need to get into this sometime soon. Apparently, it's also on D&D's Appendix N, so that means it was an inspiration for Gary Gygax as well. So, yeah, that's something I'll need to dig into. And after I read The House in the Borderlands, who knows? Maybe I'll dig into some of William Hope Hodgson's other fiction, because I hear he wrote a lot of stuff besides House in the Borderland that's well worth a read. Oh man, once again, I'm losing it, guys. I'm starting to fade here. I picked up these next two from Barnes & Noble at the book annex, their clearance section in the back with all the hardcover classics that they can't get rid of for some reason. I've mentioned before in a few videos, but the book annex is basically the only part of Barnes & Noble that I enjoy looking through anymore, because it's the only section of the store that has books at a decent price. And like I said, they're all hardcover classics. They're either bind-ups of classic short fiction or hardcover classic novels. And so I went there the other week specifically looking for two decent hardcover editions of these books to kind of decorate my bookshelf with. And the first one I picked up was Dracula and Other Horror Classics by Bram Stoker. Dracula is kind of my new obsession. This went from being a book that I really struggled to read as a young adult to something that I thought I would never finish. And now it's pretty much one of my new favorite books. When I finished this a couple weeks ago, I was blown away with just how much I enjoyed Dracula. And not a day has passed since where I have not thought about this book. So, yeah, it really made an impression on me. And this is a really nice hardcover edition with some really cool, minimalist, spooky artwork on the spine and on both covers. Yeah, look at that. That's cool. It's got a nice book ribbon. I love book ribbons. Now, as the title suggests, it's not just Dracula. It does include Dracula, but it also has two more of Bram Stoker's novels, The Jewel of the Seven Stars and The Lair of the White Worm, as well as a slew of his short fiction. So yeah, that's pretty darn cool. So yeah, I'll use this mainly as a shelf ornament, but I think I'll I think I'll probably dip into some of Bram Stoker's short fiction at some point in the future. Like I said, Dracula made quite an impression on me, so I think I owe it to Mr. Stoker, the late Mr. Stoker, to read more of his stuff. And then I also picked up a book that I'd never read before. I have a paperback copy of it in my collection. I think it's the Penguin Classics edition, though I can't be sure. But I wanted a hardcover of this one as well. This is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is the illustrated edition, illustrated by William O'Connor, whose art style I recognize from, I think he did some art for Dungeons and Dragons, 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, and some other projects by Wizards of the Coast. And he does a good job with the illustrating of this book. Like I said, I've never read Frankenstein, but after finishing Dracula, I figured, I should give the other super famous gothic horror novel a shot. And it has these very nice interior illustrations. William O'Connor's art style is very stylized. It's a little bit cartoony, but I like it a lot. I think he captures the gothic vibe really well in some of these pieces. Yeah, that's really cool looking. Ooh, that might be my favorite though. That's awesome. I'm assuming that's the monster, Frankenstein's monster, or the creature, as apparently he's called. Yeah, like I said, I will probably read Frankenstein at some point. I don't know if I'll be reading it in this edition, but again, it's a nice little bit of shelf decoration, and it's a nice quality hardcover. Now that I think about it, though, I think this is the 1831 edition of Frankenstein, the revised edition, whereas a lot of people say that the best version of the story is the original 1818 edition of Frankenstein, the one that Mary Shelley first wrote when she was only a teenager when she wrote the original novel. And people say that version is actually better. So I don't know which versions I have. I don't know if my paperback edition is the original text either, but I don't know. I don't know if it really matters. I might have to research this book a little bit before I read it, honestly. And these last 4 books are courtesy of my family's store. We own a children's consignment shop that we operate in our neighborhood. And we have quite a lot of people who consign books with us, but there's a few times where people will turn in books that are just not appropriate for the age range that we cater to. We try to sell books up to a middle school reading level. And so, like I said, sometimes we'll get books that are a little too advanced or too mature for that reading level. As is the case with the first 3 Dune novels by Frank Herbert. Yeah, someone turned these in a couple weeks ago, and all of us decided that they just weren't appropriate to sell at the store. Not that there's anything wrong with them, they're just a little too advanced for kids, I think. And the customer didn't want them returned, so we could basically do whatever we wanted with them. So I decided to take these home. I didn't have a paperback edition of Dune. I have a Penguin Galaxy hardcover that I bought a while ago, back when I was, dead set on reading all of Dune. And at this point, I've tried several times and failed several times to read the whole thing. So it's kind of like Dracula in a way. I mentioned in a video either at the end of last year or the beginning of this year that I wanted to finally finish Dune in 2025, and I just don't know if that's going to happen. There's so much stuff I want to read this year, and just look at this thing. It is an absolute beast, just a massive old tome. But it is a science fiction classic, so I do need to familiarize myself with it. I'm sure I'll finish it at some point. I just don't know if that'll happen this year. I got the original Dune, Book 2, Dune Messiah, and Book 3, Children of Dune. And I know that we like to pick on modern book covers here on BookTube, but I actually really like these modern paperback editions with this kind of colorful, simplified artwork. It's kind of similar across the board. I don't know. I like it. It's striking. It fits the mood of the series, I think. But in any case, I have those on standby for whenever I decide to get back into Dune. And then this book, this was something really special. Someone wanted this returned if we weren't able to sell it, but I just couldn't bear to part with this. So I bought it as soon as someone turned it in. We gave him a good price for it, but I bought this. This is the Penguin Classics edition of The Amazing Spider-Man. This contains the first the first 19 issues, I think, of The Amazing Spider-Man, as well as Amazing Fantasy 15, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man. So yeah, all these issues were written by Stan Lee, illustrated by Steve Ditko. I remember reading these old Spider-Man issues as a kid. There were trade paperbacks that I would borrow from the library that I would just devour. And so it's cool to finally have those issues again in a really nice hardcover. I didn't know Penguin did classics editions of Marvel Comics. That's pretty cool. They have these awesome end papers with various Spider-Man villains. So there we have Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, and on the other end we have, here we go. We have Vulture and Electro. That's fantastic. And all the pages are high quality. They look very clear, very colorful. They're nice, sturdy pages. They have nice, glossy, golden end papers. Yeah, this is just a great Spider-Man collection. I'm sure I'll get my money's worth out of this. Yeah, okay, that's it. Those are all the books that I picked up over the past few weeks. Goodness, I have just been babbling like an idiot throughout this entire thing. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me. If you've watched all the way to the end of this video, you are a trooper. You have all my respect, all the respect in the world. If you're new to the channel, I'm so sorry I put you through this. I promise not all of my videos are like this. A lot of them are actually pretty decently made. I don't know. Do all the things that you guys usually do. Comment below. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them. And until next time, as always, farewell and keep reading. Okay, I need to go eat something, and then I'm probably going to go lay down for like an hour.